Hi everyone, this is Matthew Nunes and welcome to EGS 215 Workplace Writing. So in this video, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the class, give you a general overview, and also show you around our Canvas site. As we would if we were in a face-to-face course on our first day of class, we might give that overview, show you some important things about the syllabus and how the course is set up. And so that's one thing I'll be doing today. And of course, if you've taken an online course at Miami before, you're probably familiar with how Canvas is set up. But even if you have not taken any course at Miami, the important thing is every Canvas site might be a little bit different depending on the course. And so it's important to get a sense of where everything is on our Canvas page, how the course will be set up, what the flow of the course is going to be, and of course, what all of the course policies are. So the first thing that to do, of course, is we can say, this is the opening page you're going to see when you open up our Canvas site, and you can see our to-do list over on the right. This is very handy to make sure you don't miss something, but if more than one thing is listed on the same day, it might not show them in the correct order. So going to the modules page really is the best place to make sure you're doing the pages in the correct order. But we also have an easy link here to the syllabus and to the modules page. And of course, my contact information right here. Email is always a great way to get a hold of me. But let's go ahead and start with the syllabus. Let's go ahead and start with the link that's over in the menu here, although you can click that one if you prefer. And once we open up the syllabus page, you'll see the entire syllabus is here, but I do have a printable version if you prefer to read a printed copy, because the syllabus is a long document and it's a lot of reading on the computer screen. So if you prefer a printed copy, you can print out a copy here. But I have a general overview right up front about me, so you can get a sense of who I am and some of my interests and other things that I teach, and a little introduction video as well. So during this semester, Mondays and Wednesdays is when I'll be holding office hours. Those are from 11 to 12:30. And I'll be holding those, I'll be in my Middletown office on those days. So as you can see, my office is on the Middletown campus. And so I'll make sure that I'm there on those days at those times. But, if you're not on the Middletown campus or a different campus or just taking the course from a distance, I'm also available for online meetings as well. Very happy to set up a video meeting with you. Or phone meeting, or whichever works best for you. And of course, email is always a good way to get a hold of me. I'll always try to be available during these times, but I can be available on other days and other times as well if this doesn't align with your schedule. And of course, email always is a good way to get a hold of me. I do check that very frequently. So just some general information about my department, the Languages, Literatures, and Writing department. So you can take a look at that. We have an English Studies major if you're interested. And of course, some general information about the course. So just an overview here. Of course, this is workplace writing, and I think that title is somewhat, describes it well. That is, we'll be focusing particularly on writing you would do in workplace settings. So thinking about professional writing, workplace genres, but not just that. There are a lot of elements of workplace writing we have to think about, there are going to be some assignments in this class where you're going to be able to tailor the course toward your interests, depending on what your career plans are. Some assignments you would do with those career plans or that particular job in mind. And so therefore you get even more out of the assignment. But no matter what your profession is, whether it be nursing, engineering, social work, business, education, all sorts of different things you might be in, no matter what profession you're in, you're going to have to communicate, whether it be orally, in writing, probably both. And so it's important to develop those skills, develop your writing skills, develop your communication skills. And I hope that this class is going to be helpful for you in doing that. I'm going to let you, of course, read through this description more thoroughly on your own to get a better sense of everything. But really, the key is that, we want you to help you to become a more effective professional communicator. So I have the general course outcomes listed here as well. I'm going to let you read through these on your own. And of course, some information about the Miami plan. So here's something I wanted to highlight. As far as required materials for this class go, everything will be provided on our Canvas site. In fact, they're already on the Canvas site. So you do not need to buy a textbook for this class. That is a very nice thing. Textbooks can be expensive. But of course, if you prefer to read a printed copy of any particular reading, then you would just be responsible for printing that yourself. Otherwise, you could just read them on the screen. And I have the grading overview here as well, so you can get a sense of what everything is worth. So 50% of the grade is all of these different homework activities. So we have quizzes, we have lots of discussion activities. I'm a big believer in discussion activities. Some other short assignments, drafts, peer reviews. Those are all toward that homework grade. But we also have several major projects for the class. That's the other 50%. So we have a visual project. a guide to writing project, a video presentation, as well as some career documents. And as you can see, these projects are worth a different number of points. These altogether are 50% of the grade, but some projects are bigger than others. And so this is why we have different point values for those. And, if we go back a little bit further, you'll see the late assignment policy. Hopefully this is, not necessary, but I hope you all know if something is due on a particular day and time, it means please turn it in on time. Otherwise it might not be accepted at all, or if it is accepted, it would be incurring a late penalty. But again, depending on the assignment, it may not be accepted at all. So always check with me, always communicate with me. If you can anticipate not being able to submit something on time, talk to me, send me an email. And if, just as this is really a professional space, being a class. And just if you were sick and you couldn't make it to work a particular day, you would contact them to let them know, right? It's the similar idea here, where if you are, somehow something comes up that you're not able to get something in on time, or you need additional time, you need an extension, you contact me. That's the professional thing to do. So I'm going to leave it at that. But make sure you read through it thoroughly on your own. The grading scale here, our schedule really is going to be kept on Canvas. You'll see at the bottom of the syllabus has a schedule, but the modules page also lists everything in order on which day everything is due, so you can get a good sense of the flow and rhythm of the class that way. Scroll down a little bit more, but you can go ahead and read through all of these on your own. I do want to call attention to the academic integrity policy. You're probably familiar with this. Maybe you've heard this many times. But really the key is that all of the work you do for this class needs to be your own work. That is, that you write it yourself. And of course that, you're not using sources without citing them. Any sources you use always need to be cited, even when you're not quoting them. So just consulting the source is enough to need to cite the source. It must be for this particular class, not something that you wrote for other courses. And of course, I also, as included in that, is not using generative AI. So maybe you've used AI before. It can be a fun tool. In fact, many workplaces might use it in the future. But in academic settings, it's not appropriate to use artificial intelligence for any assignments unless actually told to by the instructor. In which case, for this class, we're not using it at all. So we do have some readings about it later, but we're not actually using it. So using AI, to help generate assignments for yourself, that is a form of plagiarism because you're not writing it yourself. So please just don't use AI at all. I will be using additional checks this semester to help prevent that as well. And if I catch you doing it, that means that you get in trouble, and we have to go through the whole academic integrity hearing process and everything like that, which is not fun for you or for me. So the key is just do your own work. Don't use AI for the class. So I'm going to have a few reminders during the semester as well regarding that. But you can read this in more detail right here. All these other exciting policies to read, I'll let you read this on your own. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the modules page. That's really where we're going to see all of the details. Some of the reason the bottoms are loading for me right now. But on the modules page, you can see all of the due dates, when everything is due, the flow of the class, but also, of course, everything we're going to be addressing in the class. So we're starting out with module 0, which is course essentials. This is a pretty quick module. In fact, we're getting through the entire thing within a couple of days here. So we have some pages that you need to view and read. But the two assignments due in this module are the syllabus quiz and also an introductory discussion. And then we'll be moving on to module 1, which is Introduction to Workplace Writing. This is where we kind of get started with some general concepts. And if you start paying attention to all of the dates here and look on your calendar, you'll see that we're generally going to be following a Tuesday-Thursday flow for when assignments are due. Now, I do have these additional things in here that are reminders for when replies to classmates are due. So on a discussion activity, the initial post might be due on either a Tuesday or a Thursday, but the replies to classmates would be due 24 hours later. And so these are going to be showing up as reminders, usually on Wednesdays and Fridays. But generally the main assignments are due Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that way it gives you a pretty good general, pretty consistent flow to the class and when to expect things to be due. You can schedule your time accordingly on when you need to be working on this course. Because I know you probably have other courses you're working on as well. Perhaps you're working at a job. So you want to make sure that you can schedule time accordingly so you can do all the work on time for this course. And so I hope that predictability to when things are due will be helpful for you. So module 1, as I said, is Introduction to Workplace Writing. We're going to be covering some very general important workplace types of communication in this module. And first starting out with what actually is workplace writing. How is that different from school writing? But we're also going to have some good attention to email communication and professional style. In fact, email is a great place to start because it's something we're all familiar with. But if there are actually some things that are effective to do with emails and other things that are not effective. So we're going to think about how to do professional emails. So we have several activities, several readings about that, which I hope is going to be helpful for you. Even if you've been emailing for years, I think you're might be learning something here. You'll also be thinking about what is a professional style, and you're thinking about importance of audience, but also ending the module with some attention to ethics and artificial intelligence. And they are related, but even beyond artificial intelligence, ethics is an important element of professional communication. And so this is why we're going to be addressing that right up front. When we get to module 2, we'll be addressing design principles for workplace writing. What this really applies to is, the design of a page, really, right? So, anything that you write for a professional setting, and even not in a professional setting, there's also often a layout you have to worry about. The way it looks on the page or on the screen is important. And so we're going to be paying attention to some principles of visual design and applying that in a project. But those concepts actually apply beyond this module. They apply to all of the other modules as well. We're thinking about how do you design a document? How should you lay it out on the page? What are some basic principles that you can apply to hopefully do that effectively? So that's one thing we'll be addressing in this module. After that, we'll be focusing on research and workplace writing, because believe it or not, in workplaces, you actually research can be involved. You might have to be using sources, looking for information, and so this is one thing that we'll be addressing in that module. But also, it's a way to set up what comes next after this module, because the project we'll be doing in module 4 involves some research. And so this is also a good way to help set that up with helping prepare you with some good tools for evaluating sources and doing research so that you can do that second project effectively. In module 4, that is when that second project is, the guide to writing and communication in your profession. In fact, this is a great module where you could really tailor the class toward your interests. So you're going to be focusing in on the writing and communication in a very specific profession, the profession that you are interested in. Maybe it's the one that you know that you're going to be going into, or if you haven't decided on a career choice, at least a profession that you find interesting and it may be a possibility for you in the future. And so that'll really be the focus of this module. We'll be doing lots of activities that involve you diving a little deeper into the various elements of writing and communication in a particular profession. And, so I hope that you're going to find this to be helpful. And this will culminate in what will be really turning into a writing guide, a little guidebook. So it's not like an essay at all. So just like a guidebook. In fact, we're not writing essays for this class at all. Every project we're doing here is a real genre. It's actually a real writing a real project that you might actually do outside of school. After that, we'll be having a module on presentations. And in fact, they'll be presenting on what you do in the previous module, module 4, but it's important to practice good presentation skills. That's what this will be addressing. And then finally, we'll be ending with module 6, which focuses on career documents. And so in particular, resumes and cover letters are the key part of it there. Maybe you've written those before, but it's always good to keep fine-tuning those skills. I think you're still going to learn something new in this as you keep fine-tuning your skills on how to make a good resume, but also how to write a good cover letter, which is also called a job application letter. Because those can be tricky, and not everybody writes those as much. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. I don't want to make this video too long, but I do encourage you, please do explore the Canvas site on your own to make sure you get a sense of how the course is set up. And of course, read that syllabus thoroughly. And I will be sending out regular updates and announcements to the class to keep everybody on track. If you have any questions at any point, need any help with anything, make sure you do let me know. And really looking forward to working with all of you this semester.